What's going on, guys? National Master James Canty III here, and today we're covering a game I played in the recent States Cup. So I'm playing against FIDE Master. Let me actually get to the board here, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Right here. Okay, so we played FIDE Master Nathan Solon. Very strong player. He's an FM, and he played white. So here we go. This is against Pennsylvania. I played for the Michigan team, and I was playing against Nathan in this round. So I think I went 3.5 out of 4 in this match. So let's see what happens. D4, Knight F6. This is a King's Indian. I always put a King's Indian against everything. Everything D4. Knight F3, G6, and G3. So we have sort of a Finchetto variation, kind of with D4 already out, Knight F3. But I mean, this can happen. These moves happen all the time. So after G3, we have Bishop G7, Bishop G2. We just both Finchettoing. Castle and castle, and then D6. So of course we always go for the same setup in all lines, so it's easy to study. I'm actually going to put this in the King's Indian playlist, guys. Make sure you go check out the King's Indian Defense playlist. But after D6, there's B3. So now he's going with the double Finchetto early, which gives black a lot of problems if they don't know what they're doing. White just has a nice setup. They're sitting back and waiting. They're going to play E4 later, C4, and just have a great position and kind of squeeze black here. So after B3, the main move is actually C5, just to be aggressive here. From what I've learned, aggression is always the best in King's Indian Defense. You don't need to be playing passive, because as soon as you start playing passive in a King's Indian, the game's over. So C5, C4 he actually played. He could have played Bishop B2, which is a standard move, and then followed by C4. But usually he just kind of mixed up the move order here. You always take on D4, and after takes on D4, he played Bishop to B2, which is an inaccuracy, actually. Or he should have played, D5. I played D5 here, sorry. So I played D5 in this position to break the center up, because usually this is how this happens. And this can be isolated. And if he takes it, I just have this very strong bishop, which of course he can play Bishop B2. But my position's like quite fine here. I can always play Knight C6 too as well. And we just kind of trade everything. I do have a loose pawn, but I'm fine. I'm actually fine. Bishop A6 happens, E6, and like just have a good game. Let's actually see what the engine does here. Let me see. Knight B4. Knight C7. Knight B4. Queen A5. Knight A6. No. Knight B4 I like though. We're just not giving him that weak pawn on C6. Okay. So this is what happened. Let's actually turn the engine off. Okay, so Knight takes D5, Bishop to B2. After Bishop B2, I take on C4. He takes back on C4, and then we hit him with a move. Queen B6. Here we go. Queen B6 is very nice. I was blitzing through this, guys. I mean, 15 minutes and 2-second increment was the time control. Right here, I had 15 minutes and 15 seconds, which means I gained time. And I think he was down a lot of time, guys. He got down a lot of time. And this is like, if you know your openings, now, of course, you don't study just only your openings. And when you do study openings, make sure you keep them as a guide, and that you don't always just memorize everything. You have to understand what you're doing. So Queen B6 here, I'm hitting the B2 bishop, and it gets kind of wild. I actually have some Grandmaster wins, like not over the board, but here online, playing blitz and just playing online. I've beaten like a few GMs with the black pieces from this position. So I have some very, very good information on and analysis. And after Queen to B3, which is standard, Knight F to D7. Very nice way to play. Instead of moving this knight, we actually uncover our bishop. And lines get wild, guys. Lines get extremely wild after Knight F to D7. Rook to D1, which is a standard move here. And then I go Knight to C6. And I played this on autopilot almost instantly. Because after Knight takes, Bishop takes B2. Knight takes C7. King here. Knight takes here. Rook takes. Queen takes. No, it's actually Rook takes here. Takes. Rook D8. This is how it looks. Of course, you want to be black here. Like I'm up in exchange here. And there's a lot that can happen. Yeah, you got some pawns, but we're going to grab those. His back rank is weak, and there's a lot of things that can happen here. So we actually have a very, very good position for black. And I already knew this. I was heading into this. And after Knight to C6, he played E3. So this is a line as well. And if they go E3, you go Knight to C5. Which is kind of the same thing almost. Trying to provoke him to take it. And if he does take it, takes. This is actually the line I beat the GM in. He can't take here. He played Knight to C3. Takes, Knight A4. Takes. I'm hitting the C4 pawn. Bishop G4. Bishop F5 is coming. And these pawns are weak. Yeah, I have a weak one too, but I have a lot of counterplay. A whole lot of counterplay. You really don't want to move this one. I mean, you move this one, then I attack this one. It like gets weird, right? It gets very weird very fast. And black's actually doing really good. So I knew this line too, right? But after he played e3, knight c5, then he hit me with a move, guys. He hit me with a move, and I'm sitting here like, man, this guy smashed. It's over already. I know the next 10 moves from here. And he was low on time. Not low, but I mean, I was up like 6-7 minutes. So, and I still only had like 15 minutes. Then he made this move, and I thought for like 3-4 minutes. Because I've never seen it. I've never seen this move before. This is a move that is very interesting. And it had a lot of venom to it. I was like, yo, I've never seen this move before. So I had to sit here and think for a while, guys. In these kind of middle games, you do need to use your time because there's so much stuff that can happen. I mean, if you look at the diagonals, they're crossing. This is happening. What is going on? We don't want him to develop yet. He's going to develop and try to finish his development. This queen is actually hitting this knight, so I can't move my queen. I mean, there's all kind of stuff here. It just feels wrong. Something's like, what's wrong here, right? So let me turn the engine on. Engine says, look at the few options. Rook d8. I didn't like rook d8. I actually looked at it. This is the line I looked at. And rook d8 is number 1, and they actually have bishop g4 after switching too as well. I'm excited to show you guys what happens, actually. After, bishop g4 is move number 1. That's crazy. That's what I played too, bishop g4. But, man, this is a sweet line inside of bishop g4. There were some inaccuracies from both parties here, of course. But rook to d8, right? Let's look at this. I initially thought rook d8 because, you know, I'm just putting pressure here. And if he goes knight d2, then I end up winning a pawn. I have 3 on this. He has 2 defending it. So I'm going to win a pawn. So I thought he would go knight c3 because there's tactics involved. And he is a tactical player. I saw him play my other one of the other boards from Michigan. And he made a move. And I was like, oh, he likes to go for tactics. Which I'm the same way. So I'm kind of fighting a man that plays like me because he likes tactics. So he played knight to c3 though. After knight to c3, oh, actually, no. This is not the position, but I was thinking rook d8, knight to c3. And if knight takes, okay, so this is kind of wild. It looks wild already. A lot of pieces in the center. He can't never go knight a4 because I have that covered. After pawn takes, bishop takes. And then he can't go knight d5 because I just take it, all right? So he has to take this first. And then rook takes, and then knight d5. And now my queen's hanging, and this is hanging, and this knight is hanging. And actually, I think I stopped analysis here because I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to get in that. But the engine said just take the knight. And I was like, but I'm not a big fan of this. I mean, look at this bishop diagonal. Like, I'm not a big fan of this. And I don't even have an attack. But they like black, though. I mean, you see it here on the screen, guys. It's equal, actually. But this is what the engine says. And I am not an engine. I am a Jedi. Now, with that being said, let's go back and see what happened. So he didn't go rook d8. I went bishop g4. There's there's a lot to this move actually. My plan was to move the rook to d8 or one of these over, just because I wanted to see what he was going to do. Bishop g4, and if he plays f3, then he's just blocking the file. And I also have an x right here, so that's why I played bishop g4 to see what he would do. But instead, he actually hit me with a move that I did not expect. This man played knight c3, and I'm like, oh, snap. He like, take my rook. I dare you to take my rook. Go ahead, big fella, take that rook. Hey, Canty, take that rook. Jedi, that's what they call you, right? Take that rook. I'm like, oh. So I sat here for another 2-3 minutes. We never got even on time. I was still up on time, but he was getting closer because... we was getting closer to even because these moves he was making. Queen a3 and knight c3. I'm like, oh, snap. This man want me to take the rook. This man want me to take the rook. And I'm like, well, let's see what happens, right? So bishop takes d1, knight d5, and you can probably have a nice day. Let's look at it. Actually, no, sorry. I don't want to show you guys yet because this is very interesting. Now, if you do anything other than the engine recommendation, you're probably getting your head cracked here. It's just a wrap. Have a nice day. I actually looked at this one, which was really nasty. I looked at this line because I was like, what if I just try to trade and liquidate? I think it was there's a mate line. Hold on. I was looking at something. Queen a5, right? Oh, this. No, but that doesn't work. I'm not getting mated. I thought I was getting mated. Knight takes because he's removing the cover. I have to take this. But it's not mate though, so I knew this was there. So maybe I could have went for this. Take the rook. So is it, how bad is queen a5? Let's see what the engine thinks if I go queen a5. So it's not that bad. I actually thought that this was a very, so I probably could have taken that rook. It just felt very scary. And I'm like, I'm not about to take this rook. I'm not messing with this man, bro. I'm not. I just got out of the way. Bishop g4. He played, oh, actually, no, he went knight c3. Now, here's what I could have did, guys. And this was nice. Seeing this with the engine, it was like, take the rook. And then when he go knight d5, when you go knight d5, what did it say here? Move the bishop back. Literally move the bishop back. Now, it's not showing it now. Is it in here in my analysis? It's not showing it now. But this was an equal position after bishop g4. Look at this, right? You would think that this would be, look at the engine, guys. My queen is hanging. My queen's hanging. But it's equal. It's like equal. Take the queen, and they favor black almost. I mean, look at this. This is insane. The best line that white has is not even half a pawn. King's Indian, bro, is something. It's a magical opening. Magical opening, guys. Now, after this, queen to c3. If you have to stop and assess the position here. Now, of course, the engine will play perfectly, but here you have to stop and assess. I have the extra rook, but I also have 2 bishops. So what did I get for the queen? I got a knight, and I got a rook. Not technically 9 points, but I do have a lot of counterplay. And just like open files and diagonals is what you need for your pieces. So knight a4, and then after like queen b3, takes. And you see it goes like this. Then takes, and then you go rook d8. And now you see everything switching. Like it's like they favor black. Not by much at all, but they favor black. Crazy. Unbelievable. I could have went for this line. That's very interesting. It's hard to play too. That's really hard to play and even see. So I didn't go for that. Instead, I didn't even take the rook. I was like, you know what? I'm just about to save some time here and bring the bishop back. Now, I was in trouble after this move because there was so much to do and there was so much to look at, guys. You see how it changes? I'm already in a lot of trouble here. But I did know that the initiative is going to leave me. Now, I was like, okay, well, the initiative's going. I'm just going to play for something as solid as possible. And rook a to b1 was actually the best move, which he didn't see this either. I mean, I guess the follow-up is bishop a1, but I was like, well, when his rook was here, I was like, I mean, I'm not really worried because, like, the bishop can't go anywhere to discover me too good. So, after bishop e6, he takes. I take. Let's turn the engine on. And then he went rook b1 now. So, at this point, I'm like, okay, now I need to vacate the premises. Queen c7, knight d5, right? Queen a5, I'm not feeling because I just feels like I need to be around this knight. Queen to c5, though, is what I play. And it actually says it's a mistake. Rook f to d8 was the best move here. Rook f to d8. And just allow him to play knight d5? Really? Again, oh, wow. Just take here, take, and then play queen a6. That's strong. This is extremely hard. Like, but, I mean, like, really, engine? Like, really? Nobody's going to do this. This is why you're the engine, right? Nobody's going to voluntarily do that. So, I actually went for queen c5, and he takes it. I take back, and knight d5. So now we're going to liquidate and just get rid of everything here. Very strong knight on d5. I need to play e6 and kick him eventually. And I also need to cover this b7 pawn, and this knight's very loose. So I played king g7, which is an inaccuracy. Rook f to d8 was the best. Okay, knight to c3, and then rook d8 again. Or now, rook d5 is what he chose. Snap, snap. I brought the knight to the center. b6 is coming. I know that sounds crazy because the bishop's here, but I actually can get away with it. He played knight e4, and then takes, and then I think I did play b6 anyway. The idea here, guys, is voluntarily let him have this, and then I can just play rook d8 or e8. I mean, this one's probably a little bit more forcing, and then takes, and then play rook here. And now this was my plan. I was going to take this, and I have 2 versus 1, guys. This is an advantage in end games. Make sure you study in your end games, but in the end game here, this is 2 versus 1. And I'm like, hey, I can create a passed pawn and you can't on this side of the board. So if I trade pieces off, I'll be left with a pawn. So, but it's still technique involved. So after this didn't happen though. b6, I went rook d8 because if he goes rook c7, I'm going to play rook d7. No problems with trading. This pawn's kind of weak. I still have 2 versus 1. I'm ready to trade. And then I play rook d7, king f1, then f5 because f4 was coming eventually. I still have knight g4 anyway. But I want to play f5 just to kick the bishop, see what he does. He has to stay on this diagonal, and I think I missed that. Did I miss that last move? I played he played king g2. Oh, I can't play f5 anyway. Oh yeah, I could have probably played f5. And then snap, and then rook takes. He has rook down. King e7. King f6 takes rook a5. Is this crushing? They do like white black. Let's see it. f5, bishop f3. But you don't take it though. You play knight d3. So is this a draw? It's a lot to fight for. Could have been played. Definitely could have been played. King g2, rook d7. King f1, f5, bishop g2, and knight g4. So my idea is to hit h2, but also come back and hit f6 and hit the pawn. King e2, knight f6. And actually, this was nice because if I take this, he plays f3. Now, I don't know. Like, can I get away with it? I thought it was too risky, to be honest. So I didn't take it. I thought it was very risky. But he played king e2, and he allowed me to take it. I just didn't take it. I played knight f6. He went rook d2, rook d6, because I'm going to swing my knight around. And this is a close game in a way. Now, bishop's not really active. It's not really doing much. So in close games, you want to maneuver. And so I'm moving my knight around to c5 or e5. Knight d7, a5. I did that because if he's going to run away, I don't want to have to waste the tempo doing this. So if I do like king f6 and he goes like rook here, like this is not what I wanted really, because now it's not as promising. So I play a5. So if he goes rook here, then that's nothing. I expected e4 to come. I was going to meet that with e5. And I play b5 because his king's coming in. So if I play knight c5, he's just going to jump in. This is not what I want. He's getting too close. He's getting way too close. I'm probably in trouble. King d3, b5. And then f4, king f6. We walking into it. King c3 and knight c5 now. So now I'm like, at this point, I'm like, shoot, I could be winning. I could be winning, which of course they did like black slightly, as you see. But not even more than like a little bit more than a half a pawn. a3, e5, capture, capture, and capture, and capture. And here we go, guys. This is a pure endgame, but as you see, it's all zeros. All zeros. So let's proceed. He went in, I checked him, I went forward. You know, he pushed up. I'm like, that's a good move. If I let him push past, he's going to have a pass pawn that I'm going to have to watch. So I had to eliminate it. Then I checked him, see if we can get the ball rolling. See if we can get the ball rolling. He went king d4 instead. And I was like, I need to get in here. If I can't get in here and push and use a knight, this is going to be a draw. That was the idea. Knight d4, g4, knight e6, and knight g5. We moved around. I got a check in. Now, this was interesting. Yeah, it's still equal. And if he would have pushed these pawns, my king is in proximity to catch him. Takes. Okay, king d2. And we just start moving, right? We start moving. I'm trying to maneuver. You see it's all zeros. And at this point, I was thinking about, what would Nakamura do? What would Hikaru do? And so when I came to a conclusion, I was like, he would play on. He wouldn't even stop playing if it was king versus king. He would flag you. If chess.com didn't stop you, when it's a draw, king versus king, he would flag you every single time. Just moving his king. Moving his king. Yep, I won. That's what I did. I just started moving around. Moving around, bro. And moving around. And then, you know, the tunnel started getting a little closer, and I was like, all right, whatever. It's a draw. It's a draw. We took a draw. Couldn't do anything. And at the end of the day, guys, I learned something from this King's Indian game too, about just playing rook to d8 and like following instincts, and even playing next time that queen sack would be interesting too. I will maybe try that. I am not afraid to sacrifice my queen. My favorite player is Tao, guys. So yeah, so that was nice. I wanted to share this game with you guys. This was a game against Nathan Solon or Solon, playing for the Pennsylvania team in the States Cup. I was playing for the Michigan team. This is a King's Indian defense, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe to the video, smash it, or the channel, smash the subscribe button, guys. Share this video, like it, leave comments, and all that other good stuff, guys. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys on the next video.